Before I begin, I want to stress that just like how my videos are not edited or scripted, they are not monetized in any way because I don't feel that they're good enough to earn money off of. You'll see the reason why I want to stress that later on in the video. And for those who have just stumbled upon this and are thinking, well, I don't know you and I really don't care about your life, this video is actually aimed at a specific group of people that I've come to respect, love, admire, and wish I could meet in real life. Yeah, they know who I am. I don't know all of them, if face-wise, but I know their usernames. Hi guys, and I'm just doing this in case they stumble across my channel. So, and this is on the subject of horror movies and myself. And I do love horror movies. I want to stress that. I have not seen every single horror movie out there, obviously. There's some that I'm just not interested in because I'm like not interested in Saw at all. I've read the plot and the synopsis and it's just, and and I'm not interested in the hostel, whatever that one is that they call torture porn. That's just not me. Growing up, my mom used to make me watch a lot of horror movies with her. She denies now that she forced me, but I can remember being, I don't want to see the scary movie. No. So I watched The Blob, and I was a teenage werewolf, and a lot of Elvira's movie Macabre. So I grew up with a lot of movies like this. And yes, these are VHSs. All right. I know I'm really old school here. But and for the record, I've got these on my Amazon wish list as DVDs, and my birthday's in September, folks. Just joking, but I really do have them on my wish list. But I know nobody's going to buy them for me. But that's the kind of movie I grew up with, was these old school black and white. My first Dracula was actually Frank Langella, not Bela Lugosi. Bela Lugosi was like my second Dracula, but Claude Rains and Boris Karloff and Vincent Price. Watched lots of Vincent Price movies when I was growing up. Love Vincent Price to this day. That was my horror growing up. Now, I've seen all of the Nightmare on Elm Streets, and I have seen the first Halloween and the first Friday the 13th. But on the whole, slasher movies kind of bore me. That's why I haven't bothered to watch the other Friday the 13th and the Halloweens. I find that they're more interesting to watch when you watch them with a friend. That's the reason why I actually like The Dream Child from Nightmare on Elm Street, because I saw that one with friends, where with all the other Nightmares on Elm Streets, I watched them by myself. And somehow watching them with a friend makes them more interesting. I think if I had some friends in real life to watch those other movies with, I would probably actually enjoy them. But on the whole, slasher movies kind of bore me. Now, that doesn't mean I don't like bloody things. I actually liked the first two Hellraisers, which I only just saw recently. In fact, I liked them enough that I sought out the novella and read it. And let me tell you, it is very different from the Hellraiser movie. All right? But I'm not going to go in a whole bunch into that. But, I do like some... At one point, I watched Silence of the Lambs enough times that I could recite the entire movie line for line from beginning to end. Can't do it anymore because I haven't watched it in a while. I seem to have misplaced my DVD of it. Our house was remodeled and a bunch of my DVDs have gone missing. But I do love slightly bloodier things. And I want you to see something very sad. I have to break out the Scotch tape because super glue doesn't work on foam very well. I've tried. So I do love bloodier things. I do love cult classics. I can't say that I've seen every cult classic, but I do love a good cult classic. And this is one of my favorite movies in the world. I adore this movie. I think everybody should watch it. And I do love sillier movies. Yes, I actually own the cartoon prequel to Van Helsing. I love these movies. And if If you're mad at me for loving them, bite me. I have I have read Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter and the sequel novel, The Last American Vampire. I adore those books. And even though this movie is pretty much almost nothing like the book, I adore this movie too. Mostly for Rufus Sewell, I admit. I think he should have been Doctor Strange. And while this is not a horror movie, this is a film noir, I do find it scary in places. For those who are not familiar with it, Marilyn Monroe plays a young woman recently released from a mental institution after a suicide attempt. And she gets hired to babysit a little girl in a hotel, and you get to see her downward spiral through the course of one night. So there are scary parts to it, especially involving her and the little girl she was hired to babysit. I think everybody should watch that movie, just like everybody should watch Freaks, you know. So that's basically it with horror movies. I watched a lot of Elvira. I watched a lot of Vincent Price, like I said. When it comes to the more slashery things, you know, and that's not to say that there isn't some things I would like to see slasher-wise. For instance, have you ever heard of The Most Dangerous Game? The Most Dangerous Game is a story that other movies and TV shows have played off of. And basically, The Most Dangerous Game is man. And it's a story about a man who kidnaps and hunts other human beings. You know, you've seen this in things like Supernatural. They actually did that one episode. Yes, it's a little bit of the first American serial killers, the Bloody Benders. Look them up if you don't know anything about them. But it's also a play on The Most Dangerous Game. And so I would like to see a horror movie that starts out with a bunch of guys who kidnap somebody with the intention of hunting them. They release that person into some woods, not knowing those woods are the territory of a supernatural killer. And we get to see the hunters become the hunted. And we get to see the victim also being hunted by both the hunters and the supernatural killer, but at the same time, they are actually on the supernatural killer side because they would rather be killed quickly by them than be the prey of these hunters. I think that would be a psychological movie for a slasher movie. And if I was a better writer, or if I could team up with somebody that could write, you know, I've got this idea, and people, you are welcome to steal my ideas, by the way. All I ask is that if you do make a movie contract, you find some part for me in it, you know, because I could use the work. But I'm not going to even ask for a writing credit on it. Okay, just find some little part for me to do. Anyway, my idea is this: imagine a serial killer who only kills between December 1st and December 25th while dressed as Santa Claus. Every so many years, they change their territory. And that's how they keep from being caught. And this December, they have chosen poorly because it's somebody else's territory. And they're not very happy that this guy is hunting in their territory and even killing some of their prey. And you end up with a serial killer versus Krampus. So you're welcome to steal those ideas if you'd like. You know, whether you want to write them as a movie or a short story or what have you. I just want to see it done. I just want to see it done. You know, that's just something I would like to see. I don't care if I get credit or not. I just care if you get a movie deal out of it, find some role so I can, you know, be in it somewhere. I don't care if you have me playing the dead body. You know. Yeah, no, but on the whole, I enjoyed the Hellraiser movies, but on the whole, most of the slasher movies kind of are a yawn for me. Kind of like zombies are kind of a yawn for me. Because, you know, they're a little repetitive, a lot of jump scares, and things like that. You know, and I never found Freddy scary. I I love Robert Englund, and I've seen him in The Phantom of the Opera, and I can remember him as the vegetarian alien in V. He was my favorite character in V. You know, but so it's not anything against him. It's just that it's just not me. You know, I will watch them with friends, and I find that I enjoy them when I watch them with friends. I've probably watched other slasher movies that I can't remember now with friends, but you know, it's more enjoyable to watch a slasher movie with a friend than to watch it alone. That's basically it. I don't find them scary, and I don't find them quite as engaging when I watch them alone. So, but I do love me a classic horror. Give me Claude Rains as the Invisible Man. Give me Vincent Price as the Fly. You know, things like that. House of Wax with Vincent Price. You can't tell me that that isn't a scary movie. You can't tell me that is a scary movie. That is a scary movie. You know, so, my first Dracula was Frank Langella, not Bela Lugosi, just for the record. I don't know if I said that in this video or not. And so that's kind of why I have a vampire fetish. For those of you who have not seen it, you can go watch it and you will see what I mean. All right? I made this video much longer than I intended. Bye!